Shalom, my name is Katy Allouche. I have the privilege to live in Yerushalayim. I grew up, in fact, in Toulouse, France, as you could hear from my accent. At 18 years old, I met my husband, my future husband, who came in Toulouse to study in the famous aerospace engineer school. And a little bit after, came in Toulouse the Shluchim, Yosef and Esther Matuzov. And Baruch Hashem, we got married. We respected what we learned with them, but it was very difficult for me to cover my head. We decided for Tishri to go for the first time to the Rebbe. We were not Chabad yet, but we wanted to live this experience of Tishri by the Rebbe. The paroxysm of this trip was for sure our encounter with the Rebbe. We had the privilege to have a private audience, a Yechidut Pratit with the Rebbe. We entered, my husband, myself, my Karen, my baby on my arms, and I was pregnant with Pinchas. It was a very intense moment. The Rebbe spoke to us in French. He gave us brachot in French. It was very short. It was 2 minute times, but I must say that it stayed in our mind for all our life. And we came back in Toulouse full of strength, not Chabad yet, but much more connected to the Rebbe and to Chabad. And we decided at a point when we had maybe 4 kids, 5 kids, that maybe it's the time for us to move to Eretz Israel. So we asked the Rebbe, and the Rebbe told us to put on hold and to stay where we were. A little bit later, my husband got a proposal to be an aerospace consultant engineer in South Africa, Johannesburg. We didn't know what to do. For us, South Africa was at the end of the world. No link there, no family there, no friends there. And we decided for sure to ask the Rebbe. He told us, you should accept the proposal and go to South Africa. The life in South Africa is easier for big families because we have living mates at home. And this gave me the time to go to Shiurim. We were given by a lot of good shluchim in Johannesburg. So I learned more Chassidut. We became closer to Chabad, but I was still not covering my head. In fact, I never felt good about it. I knew that one day I will cover my head. It was difficult at the moment, but one day I will do it. I know that I was compromising. This reminds me a story of a conservative rabbi who was passing by the Rebbe, and the Rebbe told him, there is no problem to make a compromise, but the problem with you is that you sanctify the compromise. So in my case, I was not sanctifying the compromise. I knew one day I'll do it. 2 years later, I gave birth to a baby girl. It was a big moment of simcha. She was born, Patsonia was born after Karen and 4 boys, Pinchas, Ephraim, Yekutiel, and Uriel. Every mom knows when you give birth, the feeling of gratitude that you have towards Hashem. And I didn't know what to do, and I was so happy and so grateful of this unbelievable moment that I decided to put a tichel on my head. And when I came back, the tichel was still on my head. And after some days, my husband asked, it's your achlata, a new decision? I said, I don't want to talk about it yet. I don't know. But yes, Baruch Hashem, from this birth, my head is always covered. And I felt like I was in agreement with my inner self. I did something that I wanted to do. I feel like more complete, more myself, more in accordance to the way I lived anyways. As good as was our life in Johannesburg, from a material and spiritual point of view, we were still yearning to come and to live in Eretz Israel. So again, we asked the rabbi, and this time we got B'Sha'ah Tova U'Mutzlachat. Some months later, we arrived in Eretz Israel, Kav Dalet Adar. We had the feeling that finally we're arriving home. Baruch Hashem, as soon as we arrived, my husband started working in his field, in the Israel aeronautical industries as an aerospace engineer. 2 boys were born here, Mamash, Menachem Mendel Shlomo, Mamash and Shmuel. Baruch Hashem, since we came, 6 of my children are married. It was never an issue for my daughters and for my kalot to cover their head, Baruch Hashem. And now when I see young married women who do not cover their head, I understand them. I fully understand them. But I want to tell them, please don't sanctify the compromise. And you know what? It's not so difficult. It's just a small hill to climb. And when you do it, you feel absolutely good with yourself and you have the feeling of achievement. You know, in fact, it's the same in every realm of Jewish life. The Chassidut tells us that we always have to search into our behavior and to improve it. We never arrived. We never at the top. We always have to climb small hills and small hills and small hills. It never finished. Let me finish with the hope that Bezrat Hashem, soon I will welcome you here in Yerushalayim with the Mashiach Tzidkenu.